Hello.
Hello. Welcome to episode 188
Of the Knit Girls.
of the Knit Girls.
It's an important little piece of information. I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les.
I'm Laura, also known as Lala. You never know that we had done this 187 times prior.
Well, really, if you count in all the times we've screwed it up, it's probably more like 600.
Aw, that's just sad. I feel
It's
like
tr-
there should be sad trombones now playing.
Mwah,
Womp,
mwah,
womp, womp.
mwah.
Alright, off task already. What are you knitting on?
I'm only knitting on one thing at the moment. I've been kind of feeling like I can't pick anything. Usually when I'm getting ready to cast on something new, it's kind of a production. Like I'll go through my queue and I'll pick out some things, like I'll decide whether I'm looking for a garment or I'll decide whether I'm looking for like an accessory, and then I'll sort of narrow it from there. Am I looking for ferrule? Am I looking for cables? Like what am I in the mood for?
And I'm like, ooh, shiny, and I cast something on.
And I just haven't been able to like hammer down any of what I want to knit right now, so I haven't. Like I haven't.
So there's an app for the iPad, and I can't remember the name of it. It came up under like most popular apps of 2014 because I was playing around on my iPad, and it's like one of those. That's what it does. It's like it's a decision-making app. So it's like you're moving someplace else. Would you like a home, apartment, condo, and then you pick one, and then it like moves you to the next thing.
Oh, like a wizard.
Okay.
Like a wizard in a program that it starts with
Okay. I just had a picture of like Gandalf telling me what to knit next.
No.
None shall
Anyway.
pass. All right.
So I've been knitting on one thing pretty exclusively this week, and when I finished that, and that's an FO I'll show you in a little bit, I picked back up my Viagante by Martina Bem. I put this little mark from this stitch marker where I started, and I picked this up on Friday, I think. So I've gotten, I don't know, a couple inches since Friday. I don't have a measuring device handy with all my crap on my desk. I'm surprised. Oh, yes, I do. Let's see.
That's very sexy.
I've gotten 3 inches since Friday.
Wow. Good for you.
Oh, son of a...
Did you just drop all the stitches?
No, but I snagged one.
Oh no. That's no good.
But I fixed it. Alright. So yeah, I've really only gotten 3 inches of this done because it's cobweb weight yarn. But I have
You
this...
sound so angry at the yarn.
It's beautiful and I love it and I cannot wait to have it like finished, but it takes so long. This is a lace or cobweb weight that my friend Lindsay spun, and I convinced her to give it to me by whining considerably until she did.
She had started something out of that, right? And ripped it out?
Yeah, she'd started something from the bottom up, like a shawl, a triangular shawl that was from the bottom up.
It was one of the Ann Hansen patterns.
Maple wing, maybe?
I think so.
Something from the bottom up. Anyway, and she ended up not liking it, so she ripped it out, and then I whined, and she gave it to me. And I have this illusion that I'm going to have this done in time to wear it in New York in a couple weeks. It's never going to happen. But
So how much further do you have to go? Like,
until I run out.
oh, well,
And this is the ball, which doesn't look like a very big ball. It's about the size of a baseball, but when the yarn is this thin,
yeah.
it's a lot. So I'll probably be knitting it in New York when I go. But
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy the process. It's one of those things that I'm so excited about what it's going to be when it's done that
Oh,
I'd like
yeah.
it to be done right now.
So that's a work in progress that you've had going on for quite a while.
Yes, that is accurate.
So we were talking last time we recorded about working on ongoing whips. So that would
For the
work
year.
for that. Yeah.
I think I cast this on right after Rhinebeck.
That was before Rhinebeck because you were going to knit it for Rhinebeck.
Oh, okay. Well, I
It
lied.
was like August or September.
Yeah, I'm a liar. What can I say? So that's really the only work in progress. I have other things on the needles, but I haven't touched them this week at all. Like I've got the Hugo sock on the needles, and I've got the Frankenfingers glove that I'm going to rip back and make into a sock somewhere. And I think that plus Caulfield is still on the needles, and that isn't going to get any work done right now. So anyway.
So your Caulfield was out of linen though, right? And that's an Amy Herzog pattern of sweater.
That's correct. And I finished the back and left front, and I'm working on the right front. I'm about halfway done with it, and I'm just not feeling it right now. So I'll pick it back up once it gets a little warmer outside, because it's linen, it's lightweight, it's not gonna be heavy or anything.
And we have an Amy Herzog Cal going on in the SSK group,
Yes.
which I haven't narrowed down what I have like 12 of her patterns that I want to knit, so I haven't narrowed down what I'm gonna knit yet.
I
But
haven't either.
plans, they shall occur.
But that's my only work in progress. What about you?
I started some socks on the way back from Philadelphia because I had a 17-hour car ride. And my friend Sharon gave me some Vesper yarn. And I started knitting it on size 1 needles. I'm knitting it on 2 circulars. They are size 1s. My niece, Julia, helped me ball the yarn. She did a good job. So we got to use, my sister-in-law got a new Swift and ball winder for her birthday. So, and she's got it in this very cute Marina Elena Bliss bag. Made a Swift cover
Cool.
for her. It's very, very cute. But this is Vesper in the Gemstone colorway. It was a club colorway a couple years ago, and she's been reissuing her club colorways. So like the other day I looked and there were pre-orders up for Kissy Face, which is one of my favorites, which I already have. I had traded like Pitaloop Jen for it a while back, but it's a really cute Valentine's Day self-striping. So if you're looking for a Valentine's Day self-striping, there you go. This is a skinnier fingering weight yarn. Leslie doesn't like it as much because it is a skinnier, it's not as plump as some of the others.
It's only because I knit very tightly. If I were a looser knitter, it wouldn't bother me. But to knit those at a gauge that makes me happy, I'd have to knit on zeros, and I don't enjoy that. There's nothing wrong with the yarn.
Yep. So I'm knitting on size 1s. So my Vesper socks tend to be looser. Actually, the Muddy Water socks are still our header for the Knit Girls. Those are my feet in a pair of Vesper socks that I knit. And I love Vesper. I'm a Vesper collector. So I'm excited to knit some.
I like the choice of word that you used there.
Instead of hoarder, collector. And this is hanging out in a zigzag stitches bag, which is very cute. Just a little box bag. The other thing that I have on the needles I actually cast on last night, and it is a Walking in Memphis hat. And I am knitting it out of some hand spun. And I have a super long tail because, so I started knitting it, and you start with I-cord cast on. So there's the I-cord, and my hand spun was a little thick and thin, so I have a super long tail because there were some thick parts towards the beginning, and I didn't want my I-cord kind of came out all wonky. That wasn't the tail, that was my working yarn. There's still some thick and thin parts towards the beginning. So my I-cord came out a little wonky at first, so I ripped it out and then went back and used some more consistent. And then there's some garter ridges, and I'm in the stockinette section of the hat now. There's going to be a slip stitch pattern that comes up in a little bit. And let me show you a picture since I'm talking all about it. It looks like that. So,
pretty.
Yeah. It allows you to either do 3 or 5 of the repeats. That one picture had 5 to make it a little slouchier. And it's a fun little pattern because it's got some different techniques for a hat. So, and I'm knitting that on size 8 needles. They are the Knitter's Pride Novas. And I'm just working my way around on that. Just knitting stockinette for a while. So I wanted to cast on something new. The yarn is hand spun, like I said earlier. It was Boutros Babe Highland Handmaids, her Old Appliances colorway.
Oh, the like
And
70s.
it's not like super flattering on me, so this is going to go to one of my friends who is telling me that her first washer and dryer were that green. So I'm going to knit her a hat.
That's sweet.
It's one of my work friends. So it's fun. This is my third time knitting this pattern, and it's $6 on Ravelry.
So it's your pattern.
It is my pattern. We could say that. So those are my two on the needles things right now. Finished objects. I know you have some.
Do you have any?
I do.
Okay, why don't you go first? That's one less edit for me to make.
Okay. So I finished on my way back from Memphis. I spent the first 10 hours of the trip working, probably more than 10 hours. I think I worked on them the second day too. On these are just vanilla socks with a fish lips kiss heel, which you can see right there. Which Leslie actually, she was driving the car when she was driving me back to Philly after we recorded the last episode. And I was like, I'm not looking up how to do this. You can tell me how to do this. And so she was giving me directions as she's driving of how the short row technique works. Yeah. And it came out very nice. And these,
what do you think of the heel?
Well, these aren't for me. These are Beck's Christmas socks.
Oh, okay.
So they're going up with Mom. They haven't been blocked either. But my mom is going back up to Philly on Tuesday. She'll be there on Wednesday for the National Lacrosse Association's conference, like the officials conference. So she is a lacrosse official, and she goes every year. So she is going up there, so she's going to deliver these for me. So it's one less thing that I have to ship. So I have thank yous to mail out, and a couple prizes that are still here that need to be mailed.
Yeah, me too.
So, one less thing to get ready, but tonight I'm sitting down and writing thank yous, so that's good. I like doing that. Anyway, finished size 1 needles. Actually, the carbons that the Vespers are on were used to knit these. Just plain cast on. Actually, these started at the top. So I did like a twisted German cast on the top and worked my way down. So they weren't toe up for once. But the toe went down to 14 stitches. And they're pretty matchy-matchy. One is a little bit, I think it's one row off. But it's pretty on for me. So, anyway, those are for my sister and her ginormous, size 11 feet.
You're so kind.
I am kind.
I have a finished object.
I want to see.
And I'd never even got to show you guys this as a work in progress. I cast it on when I got back from taking Laura to Philly. And Laura and I both had every intention of recording before the new year. But I had some issues with my editing software that were stressful, and anyhow, we were late getting our last episode up, period. So we just skipped that week. And
which is good, because all I've been doing, this is my knitting for the whole week. And I've spent most of my week painting and stripping wallpaper and washing walls, so.
Doing unfun things that are necessary.
Being trapped in Home Depot for hours while my father talked to the paint lady.
Yes. Every time when we moved up here, every time we would go somewhere, Kobe would say, "Please tell me it's not Home Depot." Because we went there so often. But anyhow, what I finished was the Prairie Ridge shawl. This is a pattern by Susan B. Anderson, and the yarn is part of a kit that is put out by Infinite Twist, and they're linked in the show notes. And it's hand spun, actually, from China. It's all fair trade. The people who make the hand spun are paid fairly for their time.
That's pretty.
They send you 550 yards. I used almost all of it. It's been blocked, but I do have the ends. They need to be trimmed. They've been woven in, but they need to be trimmed. And this is the autumnal colorway.
That's really pretty.
is real. It's a heavy shawl. Like, it's very substantial. So it's not something that you would just sort of wispily throw around your neck. It's meaty. It's very heavy.
I need that. It's 8 degrees here today. 8 degrees.
It was 1 last night here.
But I live in Mississippi. You live like in the north.
I live in New Jersey. That is true. But anyway, when you buy the kit from Infinite Twist, they send you the yarn, a pair of needles, and stitch markers,
and the pattern.
A needle, an embroider.
It's everything you need to knit the pattern.
Yeah, to weave in the ends. Kitchener needle, like a little darning needle.
Tapestry needle.
There you go. That thing, the blunt needle. And it's got a little bit of a ruffly garter edge.
I think we should call the episode The Blunt Needle.
Done.
Awesome.
And it's a very simple pattern, but it was very pleasing. Like, I knit only this for a week, and I never felt bored. Like, it was very
I like it. It's pretty.
So
it's very pretty.
It is lovely. And it's hand spun, which people don't get. It's not as easy to come across as like indie dyed. So
or a commercial yarn, yeah, definitely.
I may gently use it until SSK and then have it as a giveaway.
A
prize.
Yeah, for maybe the
fundraising thing that we
Yeah, that would be cool. I'm keeping mine because I'm selfish.
Spun and then hand knit by me. I didn't spin the yarn, but I knit it.
That's really pretty.
One of the our prior teachers, Susan B. Anderson. So
that's awesome. Good for you.
I had a really good time knitting it. It was very nice and therapeutic, and it's very dense, and I love how dense it is.
That's awesome.
That was my FO. That's what I spent most of the week knitting.
That's a wonderful FO. I'm totally not on the show notes, so I don't even know what comes next.
Spinning.
Spinning. Do you want to go first so you have
Sure.
one less edit?
Sure. I spun this week. I showed you guys last week the Friends Forever, or I think that was the colorway name, Friends Forever, in the Spunky Eclectic Falkland. And I washed it, and it flew.
Oh, I love that. That's gorgeous. And that was a 2-ply?
Fluffy, yes. And this was the one that I spun long draw.
Ooh.
And it's just so fluffy. It makes me happy.
That's nice and squishy.
So this is going to Sue's.
Wonderful.
This was her Christmas gift. And then she had texted me a couple weeks ago, and I was at work at the time, and she said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm stalking this update for Hello Yarn."
Yeah.
They had an update. And she was like, "Oh, really? What colors do you like?" And so I took a screenshot of the one that I wanted, and it was like My Pet Dragon or Swamp Dragon or something. I don't know. And I was like, "But I can't get it. It's gone. It's already in somebody's cart or whatever." So I had sat and I kept refreshing, waiting for it to go out of the cart, and she got it for me.
That's awesome. That's super sweet. Susan's a sweet person.
And she doesn't even spin. So she bought that for me, and she bought another one that she wanted me to spin for her.
Wonderful.
So I spun that for her. I wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way. And I really had a good time. It's the first time I've spun this particular blend. It's a 75% BFL, 25% silk. And usually when I spin silk blends, the silk content is a little higher. But this was really nice to work with. It wasn't so slippery, and I didn't feel like it was trying to go too thin on me. So I got 474 yards total, and it just kind of glows.
That's pretty.
It's really pretty. I spun it.
And that's also a 2-ply?
Yes, this is also a 2-ply. I spun it, I want to say Thursday and Friday and Saturday, and then I plied it this morning, so it hasn't had its bath yet, but I'm pretty happy with it. So I got one skein with 400 and some odd yards, 418.
That's wonderful.
And then another smaller skein where I got like 50 yards, 56 yards.
Cool.
So this goes to Sue's next time I see her. And now I get to do some spinning for me, which is cool, because I want to spin some more wool long draw. Because I just am enamored with the fluffiness of it after it gets its bath.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much it changes. Also, I'd spun a while back the singles for out of Hobbledehoy and the Art Beach Bat.
Yeah.
And I finally plied that.
Oh,
so
cool.
It's a 2-ply bulky weight, and I got about 200 yards altogether. It's in 2 separate skeins because it was so like bulky. It was taking up too much of the bobbin.
Yeah.
So I had to split it into 2 skeins. So they're about 50 yards each. One's a little less, one's a little more.
Cool.
And this goes out to the winner of Mel's fundraiser, the Iron Man thing that was from like December, maybe November. So this is gonna get mailed out to her this week.
Cool.
And that's my spinning.
That's awesome. You're cleaning off some bobbins, it sounds like.
Yep. Because
Pretty
Laura
cool.
wanted me to participate in this thing that she's participating in, but I told her no.
We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about 2 things later. So I've done some spinning this week. I spun some Into the World, and I cannot remember. Were you still in her club when this one came?
What's the colorway?
Oh, see, I can't remember.
Oh, I don't know.
It's TARDIS. It's Doctor Who based. Oh, I do know it. Wibbly wobbly timey.
Timey-wimey. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I didn't get that one.
Okay, so I'm spinning this, and when it first came, it's very primary colors, with some black, like, or dark blue thrown in. So it kind of threw me, and obviously I'm not a huge Doctor Who fan. I've watched a couple episodes and enjoyed it, but it's not something that I watch all the time. So I started spinning this, and it's a superwash merino. I don't know why that pigtail's there, but whatever. And I divide it into thirds, and I'm going to 3-ply it. So it's pretty fine. This is the first of the thirds. And then the second is downstairs on the lundrum. It's being spun on my lundrum. The lundrum's been moved downstairs. And then this is the third bit. So it's still a good bit. The intent is socks, but I don't know that it's going to be thin enough and have enough yardage for socks. I've never done socks out of 4 ounces before.
Yeah.
But when I've done socks out of 8 ounces, I've been able to split it between Leslie and I.
Right.
And we've both been able to make socks. So we'll see. We'll see what kind of yardage I get. So that's on the wheel. I started that on the 1st. And then I also spun. So I placed a large Hobbledehoy order back in November, because she had these batlings. And I'll show you some of them. But they were the Villain series. And so I got all 3. So they were Smaug, who's the dragon in The Hobbit, Khan from Star Trek, and then Dr. Moriarty, Sherlock Holmes' nemesis. So I got all 3, and I got some jemmies too. And so she sent me a free jemmy. Like just one big, like 1 ounce bat.
Yeah.
So I spun that up because I just wanted to play with thick and thin, and I wound it off on my little nitty knotty, so it's kind of looking crazy. There we go. But it was spun thick and thin on purpose because the fatter your singles are, so there's a lot of colors in here. Maybe I should stop talking without you seeing it.
Keep it still for a second.
So there's a good bit of different colors in here. And so I wanted, when you spin something thicker, you can actually see more of the colors. They don't muddy as much.
Right.
So I did a lot of thick and thin on purpose so that I could show off the variety of different colors that are in here. So thick and thin, and then I chain plied it, and I got, can't remember, like 35 yards of a bulky. So it's enough to add, like, if I was knitting another bulky, like add some stripes to a hat.
Yeah, I can see it being an accent on like a woolly worm hat or something.
Yeah, something fun, or to do like a headband, probably. Princess Leia earmuffs. something along those lines. So that was just like a fun, quick spin. And then I also started spinning some hobbledehoy on my spindle from Deerfield Creations. I have one of her gnome spindles. See my little gnomes. It's a drop spindle. It's balanced with the 4 little gnomes around the top, and then a mushroom. And I'm spinning some hobbledehoy, and they are gumdrops. So they are like her little batlings.
Oh, cool.
But they are super bright. And they have sari silk and merino. So that's the one I'm working on now. And then there's this cool green. It looks like there might be some silk in there too. The orange. I think there's 9 altogether. A mint green. So the plan is to spin these all. Just go from color to color at random progressions. And there's 3 more down in here. And then once my spindle gets full, I'll start over again and then just ply them together, I think. I don't even think I'm going to Navajo ply them.
You should do them all separate and do a 9-ply.
Then I'd have like 10 yards.
But it would be a 9-ply.
But I would have like 10 yards.
But it would be awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to do that. And you're in New Jersey, so you can't make me.
I couldn't make you if I was sitting in that room.
I know. Anyway, so I unwound the first one and divided it in half. So I've spun almost half of one little bit. So it looks like cotton candy, which makes me happy. One little gumdrop. So that is what I am spinning / have spun / will be spinning for a while probably. That's it for me. So we have a view. Oh, you've already talked about your spinning, correct?
I have.
We have a viewer question from Celestia22.
Mm-hmm.
And she would love to hear, or even better, see yarn / craft storage solutions. She has a dream of putting together a giant teddy bear made from squares knitted by all the wonderful people that she has met on Ravelry. If you can make a giant item made up of pieces knit by all your friends, what would you make? Oh, and my blanket squares are not in here. That's okay. We can talk.
I have my friends' FOP squares.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
So a while back there was, I don't know if they still do it or not, but there was a group that was part of the Piddaloo bags, and they knitted squares and swapped every month, or every other month maybe. And Laura and I were both part of it. Laura was part of it longer than I was, so she has more squares than I do. But you knit, the idea was you knit one and you sent one off. Well, most of us never knit the one for us, but we knit the one and sent it off. Yeah. And so we have some that were, already knit that we just need to join in to make a blanket. Yeah. Like I asked for jewel colors, so I've got everything from blue to green to.
Those are pretty.
Yeah, I've got a ton of them in here, and then I've got another bag of them. So,
do you know how many total you have?
I think I have 21 or 22 total.
Okay.
But so I already have some that I need to put together. But if I were to, I still think it would be a blanket. If I had squares knit by a bunch of different people, I think I would still probably knit it into a blanket because, I don't know, I just feel like you can always use a blanket,
You can definitely always use a blanket.
What about you?
I'm down on the blanket idea. I also would love to do one of those hexapuffs. Like, I think that, blankets. That would be cool.
Well, let's clarify. You would like someone to make you a hexapuff.
No. I would be willing to knit some. I think it'd be fun to swap those. They seem like they would be less of a time commitment. I also like the Pop Blanket by Tin Can Knits.
I do too.
And the Vivid Squares, which Leslie's been working on. The problem that I run into when I have pieces knit by other people that I'm trying to join together is, Leslie and I have much different gauge. So they tend to not. You kind of have to, and this would be better, I think, if I was a crocheter, because then I could kind of crochet around the edges of some and make them more uniform so that they would join. But that's a problem that I've come into finding, and that's actually why my FOP squares have not been joined together, is because they all are a variety of sizes, which is fine. I just have to find out I need to maybe learn how to crochet better to join those together. Yarn storage solutions. I cannot show you anything right now because most of it is at the new house and not here. I love the IKEA shelving, the Expedites.
That's what this is back here.
That's primarily what I have.
This one is mostly fiber. I have a different brand. I think it's like the Target brand that I have over here, which is mostly sweater quantities. And then you can't see it out of frame over there. I have another 12 cube worth of everything else. All the rest of my like sock yarn and odds and ends of worsted or bulky or what have you. And then I have my books are on a shelf behind the sofa. But it's also really messy down here right now, so I'm not gonna like take my camera off and show you.
So I like the Expedite shelving. I also like, my sister does a pegboard concept, and my friend Carol does that as well, and so do Amy and Darren for some of their stash. So I really like that as well. So maybe displaying. I'm in the new house planning on doing a pegboard for my bag stash. So my project bag stash is going to be on a pegboard so I can find them more readily.
Rotate them out.
Yep. So that's part of the plan. With my fiber stash, it is all in plastic bins right now.
So for people that don't spin, 4 ounces of yarn and 4 ounces of fiber take up a very different amount of space.
They do.
Fiber as a whole, for the most part, takes up much more space per ounce that you get, unless you're talking about something that's really dense, like a silk or bamboo, which is very long but very densely like sold in ropes, where it's much more dense. But your typical like wool is going to take up at least half again as much space as its counterpart in yarn would be.
Yeah. So it's poofy, and you're not supposedly you're not supposed to store fiber in plastic bags or in plastic because it's natural and it needs to breathe. But because I have a cat who sometimes likes fiber, I do have it in plastic. So I do not have my, well, I kind of do. My fleece is its own entity, and that's in a big garbage bag size bag that's actually open, so it can breathe a little bit. So I guess that's it for storage. I'd be interested to hear, oh, and like needles and stuff. I have one of those big file boxes for my circulars.
Accordion files.
An accordion file, and each little slot is labeled with a different size, and so they go in their slot when in their original packaging for the most part.
Laura's
or in a Ziploc bag. Well, until you see like the bag that I just throw them in until I feel like organizing them again. Like I think I'm out of size 8s right now in the accordion thing.
I almost never keep the original packaging of anything. I almost always throw it away, and then I just have zippered pouches that fold out that I keep all my circulars in, but not like organized. Like all my circulars like above a size 8 are in one pocket and on and on and on. I'm not very organized that way. I'm not very organized about a lot of things, but that's okay.
So that's how we do our yarn craft stash storage solutions. There are always exceptions to every rule.
Yeah, and if you have an interesting or what you think may be unique way of storing it, show us.
Oh, and my double points are stored in gumball containers. So these little tubes. that, and I'm sure I've shown those on this show
I think
before.
you have. You got the idea from Paula, right?
Yeah, of Knitting Pipeline, or where they put buttons. They're in those, and each one's labeled. I just throw them in the correct size. And straights I don't use very often, so they're just all thrown in a vase. So, because I've given a lot of those away.
We also have a book review.
We do.
And this is by the lovely folks over at Cooperative Press. And it is Head to Toe Accessories by Katya Frankel. And we have reviewed her other book, Boys Knits, and then she just had a little book that we reviewed with Malabrigo.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was
Yarn
called.
Play?
There you go, Yarn Play.
Yeah.
So
I had to think about it for a second. So this retails for $16.95 in digital format. The paperback is more, of course, and it is, let me see if I can pull it up real fast.
And this is for kids of all ages, from toddler size up to preteens. And of course it does have the lovely visual index. If my tablet would cooperate, I would show it to you. There we go.
So
it's got the lovely visual index where you can click any of the pictures and it'll take you to the pattern.
It's got 24 patterns. It's 107 pages. And it's $16.95 if you buy it paperback, and then you get the digital as well. Okay. So.
It does, in the beginning, it talks about gauge, sizing. It does have a chart for the average size based on age for socks and gloves. It talks about all your basic how-tos that you'll need: kitcheneering, short rows, weaving in ends, etc.
Yep. Care instructions, which is always important. And then it goes into head things, which is the first group of patterns. I love some of these hats. Thurlwall, which is really, really pretty. It is this one right here.
Yep, and it's just knits and pearls.
Yep. It's a gorgeous hat. It's knit, pearls, working in the rounds are all the skills that you need. It measures from 15 3/4 all the way up to 22 1/2. So that would fit me. And it uses a DK weight, so it would be a great pattern to use up a little bit of extra. So the largest size looks like it calls for no more than 230 yards.
So maybe the leftovers from a sweater.
Yep, definitely.
I like Northumberland, and it calls for little tiny bits of alternating colors, and it's 3 colors altogether. And that goes from 16-inch circumference all the way up to 21 1/4, sorry.
And it's a very classic looking beanie.
I also like Simon Side, which is knit in worsted weight. It's very simple, but it's not too girly if you have a little guy who's kind of particular about that sort of thing. And it's simple with just a little bit of detail to it.
I really like Durgar, which actually uses some raglan style increases on it rather than the traditional is it increases or decreases? So it's shaped from the sides inwards using the regular spiral. So for the decreases, it measures from 14 1/4 all the way up to 21 1/4 and uses worsted knit pick swish, which is a superwash merino, so it would be great to just throw in the washing machine. Nice big gauge, and it's definitely more of a unisex hat, as is the next one, which is
Wylam, which is sort of a different take on the basic ribbed cap. And I really like the detail that she does at the crown decreases.
I like twisted ribbing. Like, I think it looks so clean.
It's kind of a pain to do, but it makes everything look, it pops really well.
And there's both a worsted weight and a bulky weight, which I love, like a bulky weight for last minute presents.
Like you're on the way to the baby nurse or the baby shower.
Yep. There's a cool ear flap hat called Rainson. Right there. It is a beanie that's worked from the crown down and finished with the ear flaps. It measures from 16 all the way up to 22-inch circumference. Perfect for a single skein of Malabrigo worsted that you've got. I've got several random skeins of mal worsted just hanging out in my stash. That would be perfect for that.
So. I like Coldstream. This is knit out of Cascade 220, which is a worsted. And it's a very simple, I bet after the first repeat, very mindless pattern. And I think it's pretty unisex as well.
Then it goes into neck things. And my friend Becca and I were having a debate about cowls for toddlers. And we kind of came to the conclusion that a cowl is less likely to get caught in something and less of a strangling hazard than a long scarf would be for a toddler. Plus, you're using a lot less yarn.
I think it's interesting. I've just not seen a lot of children in cowls, and maybe that's a culture thing in the States, or maybe just in the places that I've lived. I haven't seen a lot of children in cowls. I like the way they look.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen them before.
And this is Harbottle, which is really, really pretty. It's got some nice, like, moving rib detail on it. It's single twist cables, actually. And it's just, it kind of looks like geometrical flags is what it's intended to look like. It uses 2 skeins of Knit Pick Swish worsted, so less than 200 yards. And comes in a variety of sizes, 16-inch circumference all the way up to almost 20-inch circumference. So like very cute.
Mallard, and it looks like it's a knit using short rows, and
yeah, I like that one.
9s. It almost looks like a bandana, sort of a triangle.
Like you're gonna go rob a bank.
Yeah, and I think it's cool. I think it's unisex as well, and I really like the colors that were chosen for the book version of this.
I like one of the scarves, which is Millefort Let's. I think that one's pretty cool.
Of texture in it.
Lots of different textures, so you're not going to get bored. Sometimes with a long scarf, I get super bored. And it's out of Spud and Chloe sweater, so it's a wool cotton blend. It's not going to be super itchy. It's worsted weight, almost an Aran weight, so it's going to go super fast. I also like Wooler.
I like that one as well.
And I like that model too. He's super cute.
In a not creepy way.
Yeah.
I
cute
like
child kind of way.
Which is a double knitting. I like that the book has double knitting, and it's a pretty simple chart if you want to try your hand at double knitting. And, you know, it's just sort of a splat graphic.
Yeah. Next up are hand things. There are a bunch of gloves.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the Cheviot Hills, which are fingerless mitts. I like the color she chose for the photographs too. It's nice and light. You can see the detail well. That's single twist cables, and it uses Mirasol Tuhu, which is a llama wool Angora blend. Seriously, reading. It's good to do that. It's a charted pattern as well, so there's lots of charts in here. I don't think we discussed that. It's more charted than written instructions.
I like the backhand hitch, which is knit in a sport weight, and I just totally changed the page number. Hang on. And it's knit with ribbing, but with a knot detail over the wrist.
Yeah, there's
but
the
I
other
think
picture.
that the ribbing actually would help allow the glove to be worn for more than one season, because the ribbing is pretty forgiving and it will stretch.
Yep.
So that's definitely something I would employ if I were knitting for children.
I love the Dabbler mittens. I think they're super cute. Let me see if there's another picture of them. They use Lorna Lace's worsted, and it's just a little rib detail that goes up a little to give a little bit more interest than just pure stock knit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of a kid in mittens. I think they're super cute.
And it goes on to do socks, foot things.
Yep.
And a couple of my favorites. One is Cannon Fire, which is a very simple color work pattern. It's got a little bit of color work on the foot, but most of it's going to be in the cuff. And it's just enough to keep you interested without it getting too complicated.
I like Peg Whistle, which uses a worsted weight to make some quick kid socks. And that uses a Blue Moon yarn.
I like Rome Slippers, which is, it's actually knit in a half llama, half wool blend on size 9. So I would guess it's a bulky. And it just looks like the kind of thing you can see your kids running around the house in and slipping and probably breaking their neck. But
now you could use puffy paint for the bottoms.
You put puff paint on the bottom and it'll give them grips. But I can think that you could knit that in an afternoon. You could knit a pair of those in an afternoon easily.
Yep. So that is Katya's book, Head to Toe, Kids and Accessories. It is very cool if you have little ones that you are looking to knit for in your life, where some of those patterns went up to adult sizes. If you enjoy any of those patterns, I would check it out. It's pretty cool. So we want to thank Katya and the people at Cooperative Press for sending that our way. I know there's some stuff in there for the nieces that I would love to knit.
Yeah.
So
it looks
very cool. And I think there's some stuff that Kobe would wear as well.
Maybe, if I knit it for him.
Perhaps.
So we have favorite things.
We do. Lots and lots of favorite things.
We should talk about is you and your house, because a lot of people are curious, I'm sure.
About my house?
About your house. Like, what are you doing to it?
So I'm not in my house. I'm where I normally record, which is my parents' house. And what's going on at the house is we have cleaned all the walls and baseboards. They had 3 German Shepherd puppies. So I took a nest of hair like this out of the heating and cooling, like cool air intake duct. It was underneath was all dog fur.
And when she says they had them, she means the previous owners, not her parents.
No. So we've just been, we being my parents and I have been cleaning a lot, painting. The master bedroom is all painted except for the moldings is getting a new trim, a coat of paint. It looks like the closet and bathroom had just been done previously, so we've just cleaned those. We haven't painted those. They're going to stay the same. Because white for a closet is fine. Like, that is not a big deal. And the bathroom's a lightish brown, so that works. They just the previous owners had just recently renovated the bathroom, so it's a pretty fresh coat of paint. The kitchen, the focal wall has been painted red, which is the wall where the fridge is going that most of the cabinets are on, and the stove and the backsplash. I need to get a new backsplash. So those are all, because they just had like a tin foil type press on plastic black backsplash. So that red wall has been painted. It took 4 coats of paint, and I have 18-foot high ceilings in the kitchen. So Mama Linneman was awesome and got up on that ladder and painted it all, because I don't do ladders very well. The remaining walls in the kitchen are being painted gray. Wheezy does not like the color gray that they are, and he has to suck it up. He thinks it's too dark. So
he doesn't have to live there.
No, exactly, and that's what my mom told him. So there. And she said that's because you're used to white walls, because they keep, you know, anytime they buy a house, they're assuming that they're going to move within a short period of time, so the walls stay that color.
Yes.
So that's done. I'm scraping off like this large princess border that was in what's going to become the studio room. There's purple walls in there, which I actually like, but because they didn't leave any of that purple colored paint, that's going to be painted over the same color, which is like an almost grayish green that's in the master. And then that's about it. The main room is getting painted gray with sea glass green instead of black for the focal wall in there. And the bookshelves have all been painted white, repainted white. And the back of the bookshelves have been white.
when do you anticipate actually being done painting? Because you've already spent more time painting than I've ever spent at any house I've ever lived in.
I don't know. Like, it's taking a while. I don't know. So, I just don't know. It's not like I'm in a rush. Like, there's no rush for me to be there. I don't have a lease that's running out at any period of time. So, I'm hoping that the car situation will get resolved in the next week and a half, and then I can move in. So, because I'm still in a rental car. So, we'll figure it out. Well, the insurance company will figure it out.
So what about the spinning things that you're doing?
The spinning goals so I don't know how long I'm going to keep up with these, but it's a new year and it's fun. David of Southern Cross Fiber is doing a spin 365 where you set a goal to spin every day. And my goal is like 15 minutes a day, and I've been able to keep up with that, and I've been Instagramming photographs, so this was part of that. And this was part of that, and so was this. So I'm just trying to spin 15 minutes every night, or at least touch the wheel every night, whether it's to spin or to ply. So that is going on in the Southern Cross group. You do not have to use just Southern Cross Fiber. You can use anyone's fiber. He just asked that you speak kindly of others and his fiber. So
no bashing people.
No, don't be like, oh, I spun this fiber, it's awful, I wish it had been Southern Cross Fibers. That's a no-go. So basically, let me double check and see if there's any other rules. Let me head over to that thread. There's a Southern Cross Fiber group on Ravelry, and it's part of that. I like that he had a poll on whether or not you thought it was awesome. Like, A, this idea is awesome. B, this idea stinks. C, I like it, but I have an idea to make it better. Or D, squirrel. And like 22 people just posted squirrel.
That's what happens. And then there were pictures. The last choice is
group.
Always something totally random.
I love his group. It's a great group if you're not a member and you are a spinner. I think the Southern Cross group it's a very inspiring group. So he's basically asking you not to post comments containing comparisons between vendors, and it's not a place for shameless self-promotion. So there's other groups on Ravelry to advertise your shops. So you just declare a goal, spin whatever you like, post pretty pictures so that we can be suitably impressed and cheer you on. It's a non-denominational, super informal, no prizes, no pressure kind of place to hang out while you make a dent in the stash. So cool. Lynn and Jessica and I are all doing that. I think Jessica's doing it. Jessica's definitely doing Spin Your Bin, which is the other group that I am participating in. That group is that is going on is the Completely Twisted and Arbitrary Spinners group, CTA for short. They are doing the Spin the Bin Challenge of 2014. Kaleidoscope Kim is the person who is the brain person behind this. Basically what you do is you get a bin and you put in 12 fibers, minimum of 12 fibers, one for each month, weighing at least 2 ounces or more. And you declare it. So I haven't declared it yet, but this is my bin. I'll show you all what's in my bin. So,
I thought you had to declare it by...
Yeah, you have to declare it. You can do it at any point. Just declare it before you spin from it. So I haven't spun from my bin yet, so I'm safe.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't Instagram I've taken pictures. I just need to do it. You can also opt to be in the Use It or Lose It club, which I am not doing because that scares me. There are going to be some prizes with this one. So you start your bin with a minimum of 12 fibers, one for each month, weighing at least 2 ounces or more. If you want to do more, like fleeces, you can do that. Just pile it in if you so desire. You make a list with the identifying specifics, dyer, type, wool, amount, colorway, etc. There's a bin list thread that there's rules for that post. You can add to the bin, but you can't take anything away except to spin it. You must take it out of the bin if you need to. If you have to take it out of the bin, say, no, I'm not going to spin this, you have to replace it with 2 items. That's the pay the price for bailing on your original bin. Then you post your finished pics in this thread along with any bobbin shots that you feel the urge to show. They are very friendly over at CTA. They are very nice people. So this is what's in my bin, so y'all can see. There's also a spin-along going on in the Spunky Eclectic group for one of her sweater patterns. So some of this kind of goes in with that. I'm not officially participating in that because the fibers that I'm using for that are not all
spunky.
Yeah, they're not all spunky, or they can be Hello Yarn, or they can be David, Southern Cross, but I'm using Superwash Merino, and I couldn't find all of those that I liked. So, in my bin, I have Into the World in Rambouillet, in the Mithrandir.
Can we save all that for next week, going through your bin? Just because we're almost at an hour now, we still have some things to do.
So we'll save my bin for next week.
Okay.
Awesome.
Sorry, I just don't like to have to overload like people's download capacity.
No, that's totally fine. We also have Expand Your Horizons going on in the TheKnitGirlls group with spinning goals. And the first one is for February, and it is a 4-ply. All the details are on the main page of the TheKnitGirlls group on Ravelry. So February is a 4-ply. And then, so we're alternating techniques with fiber. April is CVM. June is folds singles. August is silk hankies. October is coarse spinning, which is one of my favorite things. And then December is Welsh. So
I don't have any Welsh or silk hankies. I'll have to get some of each.
You have Welsh, because that was one of the ones that we ordered that I gave you some of. From Hilltop Cloud. From Hilltop Cloud. Yep.
Okay.
That was the braid that got forgotten that I had to remind her of. But I did give it to you at Thanksgiving time. But okay. Anyway.
I'll have to find it.
What else do we have going on? I've been talking for a long time.
We need to draw for the 2 open contests that we have.
Well, we're drawing for 1. We're drawing for the Knit Wench bags. The Green Gables Knits goes on for another week because I didn't get that contest thread up until Friday.
Okay.
So, the Knit Wench bag looks like this. It's very pretty. And it's blue on the inside. I don't have myself big, so it's hard for me to see. Okay. So that's the outside, and then there's that blue inside. That is from the lovely Lisa.
Zingshime.
Yep. At knitwench.etsy.com.
Alright, and what we had as the prompt was, what was your favorite gift that has been given to you?
And it was very cool responses.
Yeah, there were some really lovely ones. And there were 302 total posts. The first one was the prompt, so we're going to start at 2 to 302. So I have not generated a number yet. And I'll generate the number. And it says it's number 220. So that should be on page
10?
9.
Oh, 9. And that is Autumn Party, who said the best gift I ever unwrapped was Madonna's True Blue album in 1986. My mother wrapped in a big box of oranges, and I remember screaming and dancing around the box when I saw it at the bottom. That's very cool.
That's a fun story.
Yeah, so Autumn Party, contact me, Lala, on Ravelry, and I will mail your prize out to you. So thank you so much.
To Knitwench, to Lisa.
Yeah, very cool. And then the Green Gables Knits contest, because I did get it up so late, we're going to run it for another week. Because that way y'all have plenty of time to get your entries in rather than 2 days.
Yeah, and you can choose your favorite Joanna Johnson pattern.
Yep.
Our new contest for this week is Overly Generous.
It's very, very cool. So we have a membership to the Bling Your String Bag Club.
Yep.
And so it is just so cool. There are several different
theme options.
Yeah, theme options. So
coffee,
there's
tea,
afternoon tea,
right.
Animal House, All About Amy, which is Amy Butler Prince, Cartoon Favorites, Mixed Bag, which can be 3, or Art Attack. And let me make sure I'm not missing any. Nope. But the very cool thing about this club is she, Bling Your String, is going to work, like, she sends out a questionnaire.
Mm-hmm.
And so not every single person in the afternoon tea club is not going to get the same fabric. It's dependent on your personal preferences. So if the main, if she's thinking, oh, like, I want this bag to be orange, but I put on my questionnaire, I hate orange, then my bag would be a different print. So she's taking every person individually into consideration when she goes fabric shopping for this bag club, which is very, very cool.
It is nice. It's a personal touch.
The afternoon tea club also, so you get a large pouch, matching stitch markers, and then goodies that go with it, and a tea sample. So very, very cool. The questionnaire is pretty in-depth, and I love that she's in Canada and she spells the word colors with a U. It makes me happy.
She's very generous,
Yes.
giving back to people, and we appreciate her very much for offering this membership.
So the contest is going to be to head over to Bling Your String and put what kind of bag club that you would be interested in. If she doesn't have just the perfect club for you, maybe one that you would like to see her offer in the future.
A theme.
Yeah, a theme. So
and
she's got lots and lots of stuff
on our Ravelry board, like we do all of our contests. It's very easy for clear visibility there. 1 entry per person, no chatting on the thread. You must be a member of the group to win.
Yep.
And
we'll draw for that next week. Yep, that and the Joanna Johnson book. I'm now looking through all her project bags going, I want that one and that one. There's a Holiday Trees one that's super cute. I like that one a lot.
So what is this dream sequence you have on the show notes?
Oh, that's my new Into the World shipment. So this is this month's club of Into the World. I'm still in the Into the World club. And it is Portuguese merino, and it is pretty. And I thought I would share with y'all. It kind of reminds me of a Hello Yarn colorway that I spun for the girls, except that one had brown in it. But my sister-in-law, who's on Instagram, just posted a picture of my nieces playing in the snow wearing their 2 hats that I knit for them. So
very sweet.
Very cool.
Sure they get to wear the things that you made.
Oh yes, Emily's awesome. She also did the photography for the Walking in Memphis hat, which is wonderful.
Yeah, she does a lot of really great pictures.
She really does. And then you have quilting.
Yes, I am making a quilt for a friend of mine. And Michael, Mr. Awesome, built me this awesome drop-in table for my sewing machine.
Cool.
They are very, very pricey to purchase, so we just kind of rigged one with a Pinterest tutorial, and it worked great. And I'm working on doing the piecing. It's jelly roll quilt, but it's a cool design. Actually, I'll pull it up and show it to you guys. I've done all of the individual sewing, but I've got to start piecing everything together now. Let's see. It's called Summer in the Park.
Oh, cool.
And I'm doing it with bright summer colors. That's what my friend liked, so that's what I'm going to do. And it's out of a Quilting Quickly magazine. And this is what it looks like.
Oh, that's pretty.
So it's all jelly rolls, and then you sort of seam them together in a tube, and then you do some cuts, and then you unfold them, and it's like magic. So I did all the individual sewing. Now I've got to sew the tubes together, and then start piecing the top together. So here's
It'll come out wonderful.
That's what I'm going to work on tonight.
Very cool. I'm glad that you're getting back into quilting.
Yeah, I'm trying to do some sewing projects as well. I've got a little area in my bedroom for my crafting stuff. So I've been
Cool.
shotgunning Star Trek: The Next Generation episodes and quilting and spinning. So your ears are rejecting your earbuds.
Like normal.
Yeah. So that's all we have this week. I don't think there's anything big happening that I know of next week. And then the following weekend, I'll be in New York City for Vogue Knitting Live.
Cool.
I'm going to
Are
be
you going
shopping.
for Saturday and Sunday?
I'll be there Saturday for sure. Sunday I may be there in the morning, but I'm going to try to catch a show Sunday afternoon, like a matinee. If you go like an hour before the show, you can sometimes get really cheap tickets
Yeah.
at the Gershwin. So I'm excited. I'm going to try to catch a show on Sunday. And
What show are you looking to catch?
Wicked,
Have you
probably.
decided? I like Wicked.
Yeah, I like Wicked too, and I've never seen it. I've never seen any show on Broadway, so
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. And the first time that I saw Wicked, I was with Laura, and it was an awesome
Very
show.
cool.
So
Yay.
yeah, that's pretty much it.
You're going to have a great time at Vogue Knitting Live. It's going to be so much fun.
I just want to go and browse. I really don't need stuff. I'll come home with something, I'm sure. I've no doubt.
I think you'll shop for other people like you normally do.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're over an hour, so we're going to say goodbye, and hopefully we will have no issues getting this episode up. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.